All right, guys, we don't even need the full countdown. It's your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and I'm here to break down some legal issues presented in the Cardi B, Nicki Minaj drama. Y'all, it just kept going and going and going. So this isn't going to be like the standard breakdowns, right? I'm not just going to go over the tweets. We're going to talk about Nicki Minaj has been talking about suing, right? That she's going to sue people, including Cardi B. So we're going to talk about what that can look like, what the results might be. And we're also going to compare it to another defamation suit that Nicki Minaj just successfully won last year and how that could be trouble for Cardi B. Now, before we get into it, go ahead, head over to my website, SimoneRedwine.com. If you're interested in booking a consult with me, those start at just $200 for 30 minutes. Don't forget, you can always do that. And then let's just jump right into it. Now, we're going to start with the tweets. And I'm not going to read all the tweets because they were vile. Y'all, they nasty. Oh, I hope y'all like my new background. Hit that like, hit that subscribe as you come on in. I am broadcasting from New York. I am here at least until Diddy gets sentenced on Friday, October 3rd. But let's get into these tweets, right? I'm not going to read every single one of them because it's 15 million. But I want you to pay particular attention to certain ones that are the ones that could result in a lawsuit. All right. So just to give you some context, all of this started because Nicki Minaj made comments about how Cardi B did not outsell her for Cardi B's new album that just came out. That's called Am I the Drama? And I think we have now seen she's absolutely some drama. Now, it's arguable whether or not she started it. Now, some people say, well, Nicki started this by making comments about Cardi B's album sales. Now, Cardi B's album sales were right around 200,000 for her first week versus Nicki Minaj had about 230,000 or 228,000. So not a huge, like a 30,000 person difference. And we all know like opening weeks are one thing, but in the end, what people really care about is overall sales. But also it's to clarify, it's not just sales, it's also streams. It's some combination of the two because a lot of people just subscribe to streaming services. So we don't actually buy albums. I don't know when I have actually bought an artist album. Nonetheless, some people feel like, well, that it wasn't that it wasn't Nicki who started it. It was that Cardi B took shots at Nicki Minaj on the album and therefore opened the door. Now, I think that's arguable because throughout the tweets, Cardi says, I didn't say nothing about you in my album. And what you will see is Cardi talked about that lady, talked about that lady's husband, talked about her daddy, talked about her brother, and talked about her child. She talked about 3 generations, right, of Nicki Minaj's family and vice versa. Nicki did the same with her. So I say that to say, if in fact Cardi B did take shots on the album, I feel like she would acknowledge it because there's no reason to shy away from that, given that you done said everything else under the sun you could have said. All right. So here's a relevant tweet that Cardi wrote. Quiet as it's kept, the truth is you've been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar for almost 9 years. And you also heavy on substances. The C word, perks, and X's. Y'all know what that is. You don't listen to nobody around you. And the only person that have the power is Kenneth Petty. But you know what happens with that Amex when you're sedated. Then Cardi says, and when you listen to these tweets, here's what I want you to keep in mind. For a defamation lawsuit, opinions cannot be defamatory. If you say, I think this lady is a crackhead, that cannot be the basis of a successful defamation lawsuit. However, facts, if you say something factually about someone as though it is the truth and it's not, things like substance abuse, that can be the cause of a defamation lawsuit. Remember, and let me just adjust the screen for this one. Remember, Cardi B got $4 million, 4 from Tasha K. She was awarded $4 million. Tasha K is actually on a payment plan to give her all of that and plus interest. Cardi B was successful with that lawsuit because Tasha K accused her of one, having STD, but of substance use. And Cardi B said it wasn't true. Cardi B actually didn't use the substances. So if anybody knows, you can't say somebody's on some substances unless you got some proof. It's Cardi B. Stay with me. towards the end, I'm going to give you my conclusions and my thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen of the court. All right, here we go. Let's add this back up here. Oh, Lord. All right, there we go. So old girl is saying, Cardi B then says, I'm letting you know again, stop playing with my kid, B. You just mad your son's favorite color is 5. Get the F on, you crackhead, she says. And then this was an attempt to end it all. I was like, okay, finally I go to sleep. These girls didn't stop tussling. Old girl then said, Cardi B says, Dear Onika, Tanya, Mirage, this is my last time responding to you because this is past Twitter now. I gotta see you. But first, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You said out your own mouth that the little girl in you haven't forgave your mama yet. And that's because your mom used to stay silent. Hold on. Oh, this is relevant. Oh, hold on. Let me get back to it. Okay, I moved over to Twitter because it's easier for me to read on this screen. But so she says, Dear Onika, she says, this is my last time responding to you because this is past Twitter now. I gotta see you. But first, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You said out your own mouth that the little girl and you haven't forgave your mother yet. And that's because your mom used to stay silent when your dad used to touch you every time he did that crack pipe. I know you experienced a lot of trauma and abuse, but these substances is not going to help you. You need to go to therapy now. I'm going to let you know this today. Your husband is not stopping you from your actions because he lets you do substances all day to numb you so he can max out your credit card. Yeah, you think I don't know? Them queens dudes that you be letting in your house every time you kick them out be coming and spilling your tea in the hood. I'm going to be the realest person to ever tell you, you need to get help. You need to heal that trauma. You always coming at people every time you see them happy because you got too much trauma and the pain that you want to put on others. Your fans are going to gas you up while you literally lose your mind. You have no friends, no family, just that man in your house that lets you do substances till you pass out so he can spend your money and buy hood chains. Okay, that's the gist of that, right? Okay. Then now Nicki done had tweets all about calling her child culture a monkey, calling them all types of names. And then she has these strange posts that she's made in regards to TMZ because TMZ decided that they want to get in it, searching for clout. And they're like, hey, Nicki, if you're available, we'd love to chat with you right now. She tells them, eat it. You're in paperwork. You know what you did. Come eat my ish. I'm on my cycle. So at this point, Nicki is crashing all the way out. I think we can agree. She's talking about the Democrats, Jay-Z, etc. She's going on. She's having a time. She's having a time. She's talking about boycotting. Let's boycott those that support Cardi B. That they are going to make a boycott like Target and that they are just really going to go in on this, and that there have been billionaires obsessed with her husband for years, mad that their chest looks like shriveled up ramen in a cup that have been in the pantry for years. It says no matter how much Tybo they take, they still look like a prune. I'm not exactly sure who she's talking about there, but she does start talking about Jay-Z at some point. She does refer to him as a camel. That he looks like a camel. Yeah. Oh, she also, this was always also an interesting one. She says that to Cardi, effing a DL man wrong, got pregnant with another monkey. You said, oh, well, he's all our baby daddies now. Your husband said he never liked you and that your ussy is on yuck. Your hubby told P years ago how ugly you look, always swollen and botched in the face from surgery. So guess what? Zoo is what Nicki calls her husband. Zoo, take my money. Yes, daddy. Oh, it's both our money now. Girl, don't say that because it's a lot of people that want to sue your husband for stuff that he done did. Don't do that because we don't want to wrap your money up in that. It says they keep removing my likes on Twitter. We don't care about that. Then she goes on, this is kind of the section where she goes into talking about the camel. And she says, Jay-Z got mad that I wouldn't give him a beat. that I had already been, had legal paperwork for, blah, 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 blah. It was just, it was just so strange. Oh, this was a particular one. Once I saw that the camel, that's Jay-Z, copying me and Zoo, her husband, poses, I was like, ooh. So that's Nicki and Zoo on the left and Jay-Z and Beyonce on the right. Let me say this. This is what a husband that's not protecting you looks like. This is what it looks like when your husband is not protecting you, but should. Because what in the holy hell? Seriously, why? Even if she's right, this isn't helpful for anyone's brand. Now, on Cardi B's side, it's clear why her husband isn't protecting her, because he don't like her they're getting a divorce. He's trying to get alimony from her. Ooh, that's another video. I done found some documents on that one. So it's clear why Cardi B's husband has it. The way I would want my husband to take my phone, let me tell you, it would be a whole powwow. It would be a whole intervention between my mama, my daddy, my husband, my sister, and maybe my brother, but he kind of stay out of stuff. My brother, he's different. My brother just kind of do whatever, lets me do whatever, as long as I don't go to jail. And the way Kenneth is, he seems to be sitting in a corner going, like totally entertained by all of this. Because men like Kenneth like women who are isolated from the world. Because when you feel like Kenneth is the only person that you got, then you don't question his behavior. You don't question his antics. I have heard some crazy stories about how he talks to Nicki, both in public and behind the scenes, that are disturbing. And I'm not saying I haven't heard anything about him putting his hands on her. No. But real disrespectful, crazy talking to her and publicly. And those are the signs, which obviously can be verbal abuse, but those are also the signs of what men do to completely isolate you. Because remember, she ain't got no mama. She got issues with her mama because her mama let her get abused. Ain't got no daddy. The daddy was the abuser. Her brother's in prison for abusing someone else. And she got JT and Ice Spice and Kenneth Petty. So it's a whole poop show, okay? It's a whole doo-doo program. But listen, so I read the tweets. Let's get back into the law, because you got to have facts to apply to the law. Now, remember, there was also, what the heck happened here? There was also the lawsuit that Nicki had, there we are, she previously had against another woman that she won successfully, a blogger that she successfully sued regarding defamation just last year. So last year, Nicki Minaj sued a blogger named Nosy Ho, and claims, quote, "I told y'all I ain't no cokehead." So she settles this lawsuit. Let me give you a quick little breakdown. So Nicki Minaj, it says, is probably feeling vindicated because she just settled a lawsuit with a woman who made some wild statements against her. And the woman had to apologize, admit that she lied, and not mention Nicki or Cocaña anymore. Or else she's going to have to pay. It was a $50,000 penalty, according to new legal docs obtained by TMZ. I've skimmed some docs as well. The settlement calls for Marley Green, aka Nosy Ho, to apologize for her false statements about Nicki, namely bogus claims that Nicki Minaj was a substance head. Now, here's the thing about this. So this is what Nicki is citing to say, I'm suing Cardi, la-di-da-di-da. Let me tell you, good luck this time. Here's why she won the last one. She isn't Nicki. Nicki won this last suit by one. It was settled, and it was settled favorably to Nicki. This woman didn't pay her a dime, not a dime, because in the end, all Nicki wanted is for the woman to admit that she had no proof, had no evidence, had none of that. Now, in the video, this woman is claiming that Nicki, quote, was shoving all this all this powder up her nose. In the settlement, Green acknowledged that everything she said about Nicki using or abusing substances was false and she never had any evidence of Nicki using or abusing any other substance. Here's the thing. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means this girl, number one, did not have the money to fight the accusations, and number two, did not on her own independently have any proof. So what I'm saying is the success of this lawsuit doesn't mean it would come out that same way against Nicki. Instead, what I believe, against Cardi B. Instead, what I believe from the way Cardi is talking, she's sounding as though she has inside information from other people who have come to her. Here's the thing, under defamation law, when you are accused of defaming a high profile celebrity, even if you're a celebrity yourself, if it's a high profile celebrity, it has to be, the standard is really hard for it to be defamation. Basically, you have to prove this person knew 100% it was untrue, that it was a lie, and said it anyway. So what Cardi can do is rely upon, even if it's a disgruntled ex-friend that says, yep, I used to be out with Nicki and she would do that stuff all the time and she acts crazy and she's bipolar, all of the things that Cardi B has accused her of. If, as an example, one of Nicki's old friends told her that, and then it was consistent with behavior that people have publicly seen, or that Cardi B has experienced, such as the going off on these tweets, that's sufficient. Cardi B could win a defamation suit, even though otherwise you're not allowed to accuse someone of that. Why? Because you can win a defamation suit against a celebrity, even if it's not true. Because the standard for defamation against a celebrity is maliciousness. It is a higher standard. So because the standard is actual malice, what that means is two things: that either you knew the statement was false, and I think arguably Cardi B could say, because of the way that she was acting, it was totally consistent with, cokehead or schizo behavior, however. And then, so either you knew it was false, or you acted with reckless disregard for the truth, meaning you had a high degree of awareness that it was true, or you really, really doubted the truth of the statement. So to say it any other way, if you spoke to someone that was in part of Nicki's inside circle, or had a good, reliable source that told you, yep, she did these substances, and yes, these things were true, and yes, she dealt with infertility and all this other stuff, if you are allowed to rely on that person, because since they're a celebrity, you can say, oh, well, I wasn't acting with a high degree, like I did not know this was false. I trusted this person seemed to know her, and therefore the law allows you to rely on a third party source. When it is a celebrity, you can do that. So I say that to say it's going to be a hard standard. And I don't think Nicki would win a defamation, particularly where they're going back and forth like this. Also, we know one thing Cardi B don't mind paying for is a good lawyer. We saw how she just won the civil suit against Imani. Can't remember her last name, but she won that civil suit against the woman who accused Cardi B of scratching her face, right? After 8 years. That happened while she was pregnant with Culture. Culture is like 7 now, or going on 8, right? We saw how Cardi B sued Tasha K and let that go for years and years and won her verdict. So that would not be a good idea here for either sides. But what likely could happen is the loss of endorsements. Like Cardi B ultimately said in some of her tweets was that she she ultimately said she was going to stop talking about it because she felt like it wouldn't be worth losing endorsements. And here's the thing, you cannot be dragging people for things that happen to them as children, like that they don't have any control over. Now, I see in her commentary, she was like, this is why you hate your life. This is why you're unhappy. I get it. But when it comes to endorsements, that's super risky. But also, when we're talking defamation, here's the thing. Truth is an absolute defense. So let's not forget, Nicki Minaj admitted having a substance addiction. In 2023, in an interview with Vogue magazine, she discussed being addicted after being prescribed perks for menstrual cramps, that she struggled with that, blah, blah, blah. Nicki says, no one told me that this was a narcotic and it was addictive. She began taking the substance even when she wasn't in pain, she told the magazine. Luckily, I was able to ground myself, but once an addict, always an addict. I feel like if you've ever experienced addiction to anything, which I have, you always have to think twice and 3 times about the choices you make. Now, I thought that was so brave of her to tell her truth, because it's likely going to help other women who could be struggling, even women who have no idea that perks can be taken for that, or that they could be addictive, etc. But here's the thing. Cardi B, under the law, can point to that as the reason why she said, you got this substance problem. Because not only did she say, yep, I was an addict, but she acknowledges once an addict, always an addict. And Cardi B can then say her behavior is consistent with what I understand to be the behavior of an addict. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I do not believe Nicki could bring a successful defamation case against Cardi for all of this foolishness that has been going on back and forth. I haven't analyzed this as far as Nicki against Cardi B, just because it's going back and forth, and Cardi B has not said anything about trying to civilly sue her. Instead, she's like, roll up so we can beat each other up. But it would be the same analysis on both sides. Let me know in the comments what you think below. Am I missing anything? Do you think that Nicki Minaj could successfully bring a defamation suit? Let me know why. Appreciate that commentary. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you can scan the QR code if you'd like to schedule a consultation with me, your legal bestie, Attorney Simone.